And for more on the sentencing and the guilty plea, our Justin Dougherty sat down with our legal analysts to go in depth.
Going in depth here on the guilty plea of former Spartanburg County Sheriff Chuck Wright. We are here at the legal offices of our legal analysts, Kim Varner, Grant Varner. Gentlemen, thank you so much for looking into this with us. Kim, what's next for Chuck Wright is sentencing. He pleaded guilty today, but sentencing comes up next. What are we looking at, especially what role will this particular judge play in the sentence and punishment that Chuck Wright is set to receive?
Judge Kane is a very well-respected judge. He is always thoroughly prepared. But he does have a reputation. He is rather stern and tough. I don't think that he's going to be subject to any type of political pressure or anything. And I think there is a serious likelihood he will get an active jail sentence.
And we look at the role that Chuck Wright had as the sheriff of Spartanburg County. What will that play when it comes to the sentencing?
That's certainly an important factor. I mean, there's always been a rule if a lawyer commits a crime, we represent the system. Part of the punishment is sending a message to the community. He was the sheriff, and he was a tough law and order candidate. That will be used against him, and the public is watching this. He is the sheriff. He cannot get special treatment, and I think because of that, there is a strong likelihood of an active jail sentence. It won't happen immediately, but at his plea, they will probably give him a report date, and he will have to report to a federal facility.
Grant, this is something too, Kim mentioned it, where the public's watching this. Those state charges will not be pursued by the solicitor. Not a surprise to you. Why are these state charges not being pursued, where a lot of people in Spartanburg County were hoping that he would face both federal and state charges?
You know, it didn't come as any surprise that Michael Black chose not to pursue state-level charges for this reason mainly. The federal charges are more than sufficient to handle it. Federal sentencing should be more than sufficient to handle it. And in essence, you're doing double the work and only receiving the same reward at the end. There's no point in putting all the resources, time, effort, and energy into pursuing state charges when there's already a plea in place and he will be sentenced in the federal system. It just doesn't make sense to do all the work twice.
A lot of people have been curious what kind of punishment Chuck Wright could receive. What do you anticipate with these charges he's facing?
You know, we've talked about it at length. I've talked to other lawyers, and I've kind of considered this myself. If we look back to Greenville County Sheriff Will Lewis, the difference being that was a state case, and Will Lewis fought. He fought the whole way down. But at the end of the day, the judge in that case made it very clear, you were an elected official. You are held in high standard, and you violated the law. You violated the oath of office that you took. And if you look at Chuck Wright, we've got the same thing. This is someone who is an elected official in Spartanburg County for many years. Law enforcement has been his life and his career, and he violated the oath of office that he took. And when you are charged with upholding the law, it is taken very seriously when you violate the laws you are elected to enforce. And I think we saw today, Chuck Wright issued a statement immediately after his plea hearing this morning. He's accepting responsibility for that. And in the federal system, he will be given credit for taking acceptance of responsibility, entering a guilty plea. In my mind, the question is, well, how much goodwill, so to speak, will that garner with Judge Kane? And at the end of the day, I think you're going to see Judge Kane grapple with, you know, he's accepted responsibility. He did suffer from opioid addiction, but they see defendants up there every day saying, I have an opioid addiction. This is the very man charged with enforcing the laws regarding opioid addiction, when he himself suffered from opioid addiction. And I think Judge Kane, I'm not going to go so far as to say Judge Kane's going to make an example out of Chuck Wright, but I don't think there's going to be any type of special treatment. I think he will be given the same sentence as any other defendant that stands before him with this level of charge. And I foresee active jail time.
Grant Varner, Kim Varner, thank you so much for that analysis, and thank you for hosting us here at your offices. Thank you.
Thank you.